Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to SempreInter TV, bringing you a very special episode today. As promised, we're bringing you the season review of our 2018-2019 season. Yes, it's been a very long season, ended in the most Inter way possible last night with our 2-1 victory over Empoli. I'm drained and tired, and I've got here a special guest with me, Renato who is the editor of SempreInter TV, the man behind the camera, and Cammy Anderson, who is the chief editor at SempreInter.com with over 12,000 articles. How are you doing, guys? How are you doing, Cammy?
Hi there, thanks for having me on. I'm feeling great. Obviously, yesterday was an exciting end to the season. As you say, the only way that Inter could possibly have done it.
Exactly. What about you, Renato? How are you feeling after yesterday?
I feel very, very tired, very drained. Some people say it was exciting, it was good for the league. It was not good for our hearts.
Man, yeah, this team is not good for our hearts. So guys, let's start on a high. Let's start with the moment of the season. I'll start it off. For me, on the pitch, there wasn't many big moments, many great moments. So for me, it's the renewal of Milan Skriniar, to be honest. For me, he's going to be the future captain of Inter. You know, he's a leader on the pitch, off the pitch. Still, you know, young in age relatively. A world-class defender. I would rate him top 5 in the world. So yeah, his renewal was absolutely the moment of the season for me. What about you, Cammy? What's your thoughts?
My personal highlight of the season was Mauro Icardi's derby winner back in October. Obviously, it was a derby win. It was my first experience at derby, and it was absolutely fantastic. Just Vecino's crossing, the header into the empty net, and it was just sheer pandemonium when the ball hit the back of the net.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you too. Those were two amazing moments. Skriniar especially has to be the moment of the season. Icardi's header on that first derby, amazing, extraordinary. But my favorite moment of the season was, or best moment of the season was winning that first game, that Vecino's header in the Champions League against Tottenham after 7 years. I was at work, I was watching it in my computer at work with 3 other people. Nobody knew what I was doing, but I just couldn't hold myself. I just jump and scream because after 7 years of exile from Europe, it was such a cathartic moment. And yeah, that to me, that was the moment of the season.
Yeah, for me, that was like, it felt like Inter were back in the Champions League properly, wasn't it? Like, after all that time, winning against a team like Spurs, it felt like we belonged there. But yeah, I think overall, as we said, like, there hasn't been that many great moments. So overall, we can say, I think we can all agree that Milan Skriniar's renewal is the moment of the season. So do you agree with that, Cammy?
Yeah, definitely. As we've discussed before, he's a future captain, definitely, and hopefully it keeps him at the club for a few more years.
Yeah, so the award for moment of the season goes to Milan Skriniar in his renewal.
And not only that, I had to add something else. The last 2 players that I remember that fired their agents and signed a contract with Inter were Javier Zanetti and Esteban Cambiaso.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, in the modern age, you don't see players doing that anymore. You know, the agent power nowadays is taken over, and Milan Skriniar just absolute middle finger to that. Said, forget you, I'm going to negotiate this on my own. He's only getting paid like 3 million a year or something in net pay, which is absolute peanuts for a player like him. Now we're moving on to the goal of the season award. And actually we have quite a few contenders, even though we've had an up and down season. I'll start off with my one because it's fresh in my memory, and I was in Milan watching this live, and it is the Raja Nainggolan absolute banger of a volley against Juventus. I was right behind the goal in that one, so I could see the trajectory of that goal perfectly, and it was just absolutely orgasmic. What about you, Cammy? What's your?
My personal favourite goal of the season comes all the way back in pre-season. We were playing Atletico Madrid in that International Champions Cup, and Asamoah had kind of swung in just over the halfway line, and Lautaro, it was maybe one of his first games. Ball comes across and he kung fu kicks it. I think it's maybe the best description for it. It was a really special goal.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. That was a special goal, even though it was pre-season. It's still very fresh in the mind. What about you, Renato? Who do you giving it to?
Yeah, those two are very hard to compete with. This one, it wasn't. The goal I chose was Brosso versus Samp in the last minute, 94th minute, one of the first games of the season. Again, the technicality, the quality of the goal might not be the best, but it was such a frustrating match. We had at the 44th minute a goal taken back by VAR. Raja Nainggolan scored a beautiful, beautiful goal, but guess what? Antonio Candreva was offside. Ha! And then that same match, later on, it was the 88th minute, still 0-0. Asamoah scored at a beautiful, beautiful ball from outside the box. But the assist came from the ball crossed the goal line. I think it was Politan who made the assist. So VAR took that back again. And then on the 94th, finally, Brosso scored. So it was such a game, such a crazy classic Sampdoria-Inter Pazza game. And that's why I chose to be my favorite goal of the season, because I just screamed so hard when that ball came in. And it was clear that VAR couldn't do anything about that one. They could not take that one back. So that to me was my favorite goal.
Yeah, I remember everyone on social was like, take that one then, VAR, come on. Yeah, well, who would you think is the best one then out of all of those? I'm still going for the Raja one, just because of the difficulty and the importance of the goal.
I certainly think I'd have to agree with that. It was, when it hit the back of the net, there was no words to describe the feeling. You couldn't quite believe it actually went in. It was amazing.
Yeah, I have to agree with it too. Rajas versus Juve, absolutely. Amazing goal, amazing technique. Just Chesney put a hand to it, but he couldn't do anything about it. It was such a beautiful strike. Extremely, extremely beautiful goal. Absolutely goal of the season for sure.
Great, so goal of the season award goes to Raja Nainggolan versus Juve. So moving on to the next award, it's quite a difficult award. Player of the season, with the up and down season, it's been really difficult to have a standout player really. So who would you give this award to, Cammy?
I'd give the award to our keeper, our saviour, Mr. Batmanovic, Samir Handanovic. I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer for me. I mean, the man saved us on countless occasions. Yeah, he's had a few moments where he's just kind of went a bit brain dead, the balls flew past him, but the amount of points he's won us this season has been excellent, and on top of that, since he took the captaincy on, he's been a brilliant captain.
My man of the season would have to be Lautaro Martinez. He came in last summer, less than a year ago. And yeah, we're expecting him to be the substitute for Icardi. Some people thought he was a number 10. Not really, he's a number 9. But he's this modern number 9. And then when that whole crazy storm hit Inter in January, he stepped up and he really changed the face of the attack and the way the team played and the way the team handled the opposition, and it was great. It was, to me, that was extraordinary, because I was not expecting that for such a young player coming from South America in his first season. He had 9 goals and 2 assists, extremely respectable for a 21-year-old in their first season in Italy.
Yeah, 100%. My award would go to Marcelo Brozovic. He's been changed last season into this regista role, the deep line playmaker, which is definitely his position now. So this is his first season in this position, and I think he's proven that he's like the architect, the mind of this team. When he is not in the team, you can definitely see it. The team misses him with his the passing range and his energy that he provides and the tackling. He's really irreplaceable in this team. But he had a dip in the last few months of the season, which can probably be due to the amount of running he does. His running stats, he's in the top 5 for Serie A in terms of kilometers covered. So that's a testament to his work rate and stamina. But overall, I think we can all agree, especially due to yesterday's match against Empoli, that San Handanovic deserves the award for Player of the Season, I think. Any arguments for that?
Nope, none at all.
No arguments. Every time the team loses, he's the first one out there talking to the press, giving, being a man for the team.
Some of his moments where he's a bit of a statue, or the mannequin challenge thing he does sometimes is infuriating. But I think on balance, some of the saves that he pulls out are absolutely world class. So well deserved player of the season to Samir Handanovic, our captain. So now to one of the more easier parts of our awards of the season, which is the disappointment of the season. We've got a lot of disappointments to list off. So I'll start off with my disappointment of the season, which is Sime Vrsaljko. Actually, not a particular moment for him. It's just disappointing. Probably one of the best and most consistent right backs that is available out there on the market. Unfortunately, he has a dodgy knee. The 13 appearances that he had with us were pretty decent, some of them very good performances. I think he had a couple of assists as well, but unfortunately he had an operation on his knee, and it looks like we're not going to be redeeming him, quite rightly so, because we can't be taking a gamble for dodgy knees. What's your thoughts on that, Renato?
Yeah, I agree with you, Shime. I was super excited about him, and yeah, didn't deliver. Not his fault, his health, his knee, but big disappointment. My biggest disappointment of the season was the eliminations from the Cup, especially the Champions League. If you think about it, being in a group with Barcelona, Tottenham, and PSV, 2 European champions in a very, very tough English side, finishing third, tied in points, not going through because of the goal difference, it was fine. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Yeah, it's not a big deal if it's 10 points. But we tied on 8 points, not winning the last game of the season at home against PSV. If we would have gone out in 10 points, I have no problem. I'll be very proud of the lads, of the coach. But 8 points was a massive, massive disappointment not to be able to advance to the knockout stages on that. And then Europa League, the team was gone. The team was completely gone. In Coppa Italia, that match against Lazio, that's when everything broke. That's when everything went to hell for Inter. Yeah. So those 2 games, they hurt. They were a huge disappointment, but the biggest one was the Champions League one.
No, definitely. It was really disappointing. I know there was a lot of expectations heading into it, and perhaps we did overachieve for our expectations, but it was still a sore way to certainly exit. In terms of what my personal disappointment of the season was, it was the way Radja Nainggolan performed. Now this is going to sound a bit controversial, but certainly when he arrived, I don't think anyone was expecting him to perform how he did, certainly in the first part of the season anyway. It was a season disrupted by injury, and he also had that off-field issue with the audio tape. Then there was a training issue, and well, he maybe picked it up at the end of the season. I can't help but feel disappointed. Yeah,
it would have been good if he wasn't an alcoholic. I think the exits from the Cups is definitely the most hurting, the thing that hurt me the most this season. I would even put, for me, even the Coppa Italia loss was really hurt me, because I felt like that was within reach. I thought that was a realistic target. With the Champions League, I didn't think it was that realistic at the beginning, but of course then the 8 points on level with Spurs made it possible. But I think the disappointment has to be the Cup exit. What do you think, guys?
Absolutely, no question about it.
I completely agree.
Okay, so disappointment of the season goes to the team for not making past the group stage of the Champions League, not making it past the Lazio in the Cup, just not getting anywhere near a trophy really. Okay, so next section, another tasty one, worst player of the season. Take it, Renato.
To me, the worst player of the season was Perisic. You could put him next to the biggest disappointment of the season, but in terms of numbers, it was his worst season since his first season. And his first season, you could give him a pass. Being in from the German league, moving to Italy, and he got 9 goals and 6 assists on his first season. This season, he got 9 goals and 8 assists. Every other season in between, he did double digits in every single season. So he was the biggest disappointment. It was the longest hangover ever from the World Cup player. He usually was up and down. This whole season he was down for me, the whole season.
Yeah, and let's not forget the January transfer window request as well.
That was just terrible. That's when you know that he was gone. He didn't want to be here, and his demeanor in the pitch and outside of the pitch, it demonstrates that. Yeah, he was just awful the whole year. What do you think, Cammy?
Definitely agree with that. It was unfortunate with the way his season went. Obviously, he's one of our better players on his day, but just didn't really work for him this season. In terms of who my worst player was, for me it's Antonio Candreva. He stank the place out all season. He was crap. He just, let's not even get started on his crosses. Crossing inshallah, all of that, rubbish. He's absolutely useless and doesn't fit into the Inter style of play. So hopefully with Conte coming in, Candreva doesn't stay, but knowing their past, who knows?
I mean, yeah, nice. I think you've described them very well there. So on similar lines, Dalberto Carlos, Mr. Dalbert, Mr. 25 million that we paid from Nice. 3 months Ozilio spent negotiating with Nice for this player in the summer, and yeah, it's been 2 seasons now. It's not paid off at all. I think, in my opinion, he's the worst player that's played for Inter in the last 10 years. And yesterday's match against Empoli, you know, describes him perfectly. Came on with like no energy, no drive, out of position, awful with the ball at his feet. Like it reminds me of Ezekiel Schelotto when he's on the ball, like zero ability. I think I don't even want to argue this one. He has to be the worst player, guys.
No, yeah, certainly. I mean, whoever convinced us to sign him, can they maybe come and work for us and convince teams to take our crap players off us, because he is rotten.
Yeah, terrible piece of business. Horrible business, especially back then when we had such financial straits. Yeah, he's the worst one of the whole season, absolutely.
Moving on to a bit of a lighter note, let's talk about some of the funnier moments of the season. I know it's been hard to laugh as a Inter fan this season, but off the pitch we've had a lot of interesting moments. None other than Mario Cardi's wife has offered us many interesting moments off the pitch with some of her behaviour, but the most funniest, I think, hands down, has to be her complaining at Italian commentator Lelia Dani and calling his sister's private parts out on her Instagram, saying, you know, Lelia Dani was saying that Mario Cardi's penalty goal against Napoli was useless, and she said that Lelia Dani's sister's private parts are actually useless. That actually had me rolling on the floor laughing, because I just wasn't expecting it. I mean, she's his agent, she's Mario Cardi's agent, and she's doing this kind of stuff on Instagram. It's absolutely crazy. What other moments can you think of, Cammy?
So there was multiple moments where Spalletti certainly made me laugh throughout the season. There was several occasions when he was returning to the pitch late after half time. There was videos of him in training running at the camera with silly faces. There was a video of him doing keepy-uppies one week and he could barely get the ball off the floor. The following week he looked like Neymar. He looked brilliant. No idea what had happened to him, but something did, and he was suddenly a keepy-uppy king. There was also the fight with the journalist. When journalists started questioning him, he had a go at them. And then, of course, there was the celebration against Sampdoria when Brozovic had scored. Turns to the camera, gives it his all, and he gets sent off for it.
I'm really gonna miss him. Like as a character off the pitch, in interviews, press conferences, he's been so entertaining to watch. And even on the pitch for results, I think he's been our best manager since Jose Mourinho. So what do you think, Camila? What would you rate his 2 years at Inter?
I don't think you could particularly give a number. I'm not keen on giving ratings like that, but certainly I'd say it was a positive tenure in charge of the club. He got the club right back on track. He's qualified us for the Champions League 2 years running, and although he's not been everyone's favourite, I'm certainly going to miss him when he does leave, because as you've said, as a person he's brilliant, and yeah, I'll be sorry to see him go.
Yeah, I think that's enough discussing this past season. I've had enough, guys. Let's look ahead and look on to next season. Antonio Conte is pretty much 99% confirmed to be coming in to replace Mr. Boldhead, Luciano Spalletti. What are your thoughts, guys? Let's start over you, Cammy. What are your thoughts for next season with Conte at the helm?
I'm certainly excited for it. I really don't know what it's going to hold, but certainly it sounds, with financial fair play, or the settlement agreement out of the way, we've got a chance to invest and he can make his own team. And my main hope for the season, I'd say, would be certainly to be more competitive and remain in the title race for longer anyway. I think it's maybe too soon for us to properly challenge, but it'd be nice to kind of stay in the fight for longer.
Yeah, I agree with that, Cammy. My hopes for the season is to qualify for Champions League in April. That's all I want. What? Any day of April, just April. Make it April.
Yeah, where's the fun in qualifying early though? Who wants to qualify early for the Champions League? Who doesn't love always going to the hospital for a heart attack on the final day of the season?
Oh man, this team. But yeah, I think on that point, I think that the mentality is what needs to be changed next season for me. You know, Conte is known to be, you know, a sergeant, you know, someone that's going to come in and, you know, make the players run and have a winning mentality. That's what he's done at every single club he's been to. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping that he brings in. What are your thoughts on his sort of three at the back kind of formation though? Do you think that will work at Inter?
Yeah, I think it will work. We've also got Skriniar, De Vrij, and then Gordon's coming in as well. On top of that, there's Ranocchia, not everyone's favourite player, comes in and does a job though. We've then got youngsters like Bastoni there. Certainly we've got enough numbers there to try it, and I mean, who knows what it's going to be like unless we try it.
Well, of all the players that we will have available next season, only De Vrij and Bastoni have played the three-man defense. So I don't know, I'm very weary. And people is very excited about Godin. I don't know. The last time we had a champion, a veteran defender champion, was Nemanja Vidic. That didn't end up very well. So I'm very weary about Godin. Love the man, love him as a defender. I've been a fan of him forever. But I'm not sure about that three-man defense. I hope it works, obviously, but I don't know.
I agree. I'm skeptical with the three-man defense as well. I think Godin has played in Uruguay for the Uruguay national team in the three, but yeah, I don't see that because they're not you know, pacey centre backs, all three of them. So usually, you know, two or at least one of the centre backs in the three has to have a bit of pace to cover the others. So I don't see how that will work unless D'Ambrosio becomes one of the three centre backs, which he has shown he can play there. So yeah, basically on that point, Renato, looking forward to next season. Who do you want to sign?
Because of it's almost certain it's going to be Conte, I would like Martin de Roon from Atalanta, a very good Dutch player who's been in Italy for a long time. He's a player who keeps his head down and works a lot, works real hard. He's not a superstar, but that's what we need. I don't want any more Naingolans and Icardis. I'm tired of that. What I want is more De Vrijs and Asamoahs. People who have been in Italy for a long time and keep their head down and work real hard. That's what I want. And since our midfield is our weakest point, I think he'll be great. He can play in a five-man midfield or also that four with three in front and three in the back. So because of Conte, I think he'll be a great addition to this side.
Great. Nice one. What about you, Cammy?
I'd really like us to bring in Edin Dzeko from Roma. Certainly, going by the media speculation, it looks like it could be happening. Certainly from being at the game against Roma back in April, he was the star of the show in that first half, and that really showed to me that he's a player I want at the club. He's a veteran presence, he knows where to score, well, he knows how to score rather, and he'd be a great kind of tutor for Lautaro Martinez, and if we bring in another striker, he could partner up. He's just someone I'd really like to see at the club, definitely, and as far as I'm aware, Conte's a big fan of him also.
Yeah, I agree. He'd be a great signing if he's not a starter though. I don't want to be signed Dzeko if he's a starter. Personally, I would bank all my money for Nicolas Pepe from the Ligue 1, plays for Lille. He's had a breakout season with 23 goals and 12 assists. You know, absolutely blitzed the Ligue 1 this season. Yes, he's going to be super expensive. He's been sort of valued around the 60-70 million mark. But with Inter out of the settlement agreement and Suning saying that they're ambitious, they need to put their money where their mouth is. And I think a marquee signing like Nicolas Pepe is the way to go about it.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I really do hope that we start kind of splashing all this cash we've apparently got. Also, we will need to spend within reason. We're not completely free of financial fair play, but surely with no longer being under the settlement agreement, we should be able to have a lot more freedom on the transfer market.
Absolutely, finally. I'm looking forward to that, you know, especially me growing up in the Moratti era, you know, spending money like crazy. That's part of also a fun summer when you're an Inter fan.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited. I've spoken earlier in the show about us having more freedom in the transfer market, so certainly there's going to be lots of transfer news to keep me going over the summer.
All right, Cammy, thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm really glad to have been on it, and looking forward to next season, and hopefully be on throughout the summer and next season as well.
Brilliant, yeah. Looking forward to that, and thank you to Renato as well, hermano, for coming on.
Let's hope for a better season next year. Forza Inter. Ciao.
Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below, what do you think of our awards? Who would you give the best player, worst player of the season to? Best moment, worst moment? Hopes for next season. Let us know in the comments below. We will be reading and replying to you guys. Please subscribe, and as always, guys, Forza Inter. Ciao.